Hello, hello. Welcome back to Homeschooling with Heart. If this is your first time here, my name is Steph. I am a homeschooling grandmother to one 7-year-old grandson. So thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And to our subscribers, thank you very much. We really appreciate you. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I read before I started homeschooling. This is our first year. If you're new here, this is our first year of homeschooling, the 2020-2021 homeschool year. And there were a few books that I read that helped get me through the initial part of homeschooling. I'm sure there will be plenty more books to read, but these books in particular are the ones that I chose. I mean, I have a stack and I have a lot on my Kindle, but these are the ones that I chose to show you because these are the ones that I kind of kept going back to. So if you're into that, if you want to see more, meet me on the other side of this YouTube second. All right, all right. So I am going to show you what I read. I'm not really going to get into the particulars of why and all that good stuff, but I'll just kind of give you a little bit of about what it's about, and then just kind of go on from there. Yes, I did read a few books that were recommended by veteran homeschoolers, and a couple of those books were The Unhurried Homeschooler and Homeschool Bravely. I also have Teaching from Rest on my Kindle. I found those very, very helpful. The veteran homeschoolers for recommending those books. Thank you, because they were extremely helpful. I'm sure that I will be referencing them throughout my journey. So, but yes, I do recommend those books. The other book that I read was The 3 R's. I really liked this book. I liked the way she had it laid out. I liked the way that she talked about the 3 R's. I really liked the way that when I kind of went back and read the phonics part and how she describes that's kind of how we are doing our phonics. That's how he's learning to read. So I could relate to this book, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and just kind of lays out a plan. It's kind of for grades K through 3. Yeah, very good book, and I recommend it as well to anybody who is first starting out, or if you've got kids in any of these grades and you haven't read it yet. It is a very good inspiration as well. 4 centuries of American education. So for me, in order to know where to go with education and educating my grandson, I kind of had to know where we've been as far as education. So this book, dumbing us down, this book and this book kind of all tied into what kind of information I was seeking, which was what's kind of going on in the public school system and how it really hasn't caught up to where we are, technology wise, to where we are creativity wise, to where the jobs are gonna be, 10, 12, 13 years from now. It kind of gets you thinking about that kind of stuff. Same old is really not going to cut it, So that's what I got from this book, and I really enjoyed reading this book. And I kind of referred back to it when I was like, okay, why am I homeschooling again? Then The 4 Centuries of American Education by David Barton. I needed to see where we were, where we came from, where our history came from of education. I knew a little bit, but I didn't know a lot. And this little tiny book is packed with history and how our founders thought about school and education and public schools that they had set up. So going from our founding forward, and to me, you kind of have to see where you've been in order to know where you're going, especially with education. So this was a good read for me. The other one, Thinking Like a Lawyer, of course, this was right up my alley. Critical thinking all the way. And so he's a lawyer, and he talks about how, when he was in school, the things that occurred with him, and then he actually grows up and sees a problem, becomes the solution, and puts the solution in place. And that is what I loved about this book. It was very inspiring to me because he had a plan and he helped, and he used his knowledge to help others in a big way. So this book was very inspiring for me, and also it backed up why so many of us are going after that critical thinking with our children and with our grandchildren. Yeah, Thinking Like a Lawyer, a framework for teaching critical thinking to all students. So, very good book. The last book that I read. Now, I have a quote that's framed in my room. Can't really think of it right now. I should have brought it in here with me. But it says something to the effect of, your greatest contribution may not be something you do, but someone you raise. And I look at that often, and I think of my children, and I think of my grandson. And that is so true. The best thing that you do, could be someone you raise. We are raising next generation leaders. Now, I didn't know who Andy Stanley was. I just had the quote. I just thought it was a beautiful quote. I've always had it. Never even looked up who he was. Just had it. And then I saw the book. I saw this book, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's written by Andy Stanley. And this is something that I'm doing, And so I picked it up, and it was a very good read. And so, 5 essentials for those who will shape the future, right here. And then I have tons of books, but those were the ones that I felt really inspired me this homeschool year. And I am, starting to read a little bit more. And as I go through those books, I will share them with you. But I also want to share something else with you. When I first started homeschooling, I, was just nervous like everybody else, right? And, if you don't come from the homeschool background, and I didn't. I came from public school education, and my children were public schooled as well. I knew I wanted to homeschool my grandson after kindergarten, and I knew that we were probably going to after he finished kindergarten, but the job came a little bit early because of everything that happened in 2020. I purchased this handbook, and I really do like the fun journals from Thinking Tree, and I have a video that kind of flips through, but I don't think I've done a flip through of this one. Mom's First Year of Homeschooling Handbook. Of course, I changed it to Mimi because, Mimi. And this is going to be a keepsake for me. And I'm also going to get another one because it helped a lot. And I'll show you what I've got for this year. But what it does, it's a workbook, learning guide, how to plan. It gives a place for you to choose the books that that you want to read. And it gives coloring time. It gives, screen time, watching a documentary, educational program. Gives just kind of a blank page for you to write some notes on. And it gives the news of the day. It also has a place for, if you're a praying person, who did you pray for, and if anything impacted, if we were impacted by bad news. Kind of a daily journal, and then also special memories, things that you want to remember, a new day, verse, song, prayer, what matters most, and then true priorities, long-term goals, I'm thankful for, checklist, reading time, make sure you sit down and read for yourself. So this was very nice to have. It also had ideas for fun and learning together. This is also where we had listening time, and he dictated his first story to me in this journal. If you're going to have your student working on a journal, or doing some writing of their own, and you have one that you're working in, it's kind of a nice little break, but it also has a place for your thoughts and what you want to remember out of the school year, and you can look back and see things of where you were and where you are now, reflecting with purpose, right? So this was just right up my alley, and again, it's going to be a wonderful keepsake. This year, I am probably going to get another one of these, but I am adding this in is, one, I am getting back to my faith, and we will be studying the Bible this coming up year. So I needed something to reflect in with my faith, and then I will have something to reflect in with my homeschool. So that is why I will be keeping 2 this year. Those are the books that I found helpful, and I hope that they do help. Next thing that I am going to be talking about is investing. I have a financial background. If you're new here, I do have a financial background, and I have had Remy. I've been teaching Remy about stocks and commodities since he was about 4 years old. So he has his own investing account. Well, I have an investing account for him. And, he just kind of looks at it and helps me out. I can't wait to share with you, and I will probably bring him in on that video so that he can tell you what he knows, and we can just kind of go from there. Excited about you guys listening in on how we talk about investing. So if you're into that, that will probably be in the next few videos. We'd love to have you along this journey. Subscribe if you can. And to our subscribers, again, we really do appreciate you. And until we meet again, be good to each other. Bye-bye.